Hello class 11th. As you know that the digestive system of human beings consists of 5 processes: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. The process of ingestion includes how the organism is taking the food. For example, if you'll see in case of the frog, they are using their tongue to catch the organism, while in case of the butterflies, they are using their coiled tongue. The other organism, like human beings, they are using their hand to take the food to the mouth. The process of digestion not only includes different type of the organs but also the different enzymes. In case of the absorption, the food is being completely changed into the simpler form from its complex form and then passed to the circulatory system for its transportation. During the process of assimilation, this transported nutrients, they are going to the different cells and from there they are being utilized by the different cells for their different activities. Whatever be the undigested food material is there, that is being thrown out from the body by the process of the egestion. So all these 5 processes will complete the digestive system. In case of the human beings, because 2 openings are present and a complete alimentary canal in the coelomic cavity is present, that type of the nutrition is known as holozoic nutrition. During this process, different systems of the body such as circulatory system, respiratory system and endocrine system also works together. The digestive system consists of different parts such as in the buccal cavity, teeth, tongue, glands, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. These are the essential part of the digestive system. But there are several other organs which act as accessory parts of the digestive system such as liver and pancreas. Although the food never goes to the liver and pancreas, but their secretion is very important for the digestion of the food and working of the small intestine or the duodenum. The small intestine and large intestine, as the name suggests, it is about their diameter, not about their length. Small intestine is larger than or longer than the large intestine. The first part of the digestive system where the food encounter is the teeth. 4 types of teeth are present. These are incisors for biting of the food, canines for tearing of the food, 2 premolars in one side of the tongue, jaw, first premolar and the second premolar for crushing of the food, and 3 molars are present for the grinding and chewing of the food. The dental formula is 2 1 2 3 upon 2 1 2 3. The teeth, they are cutting, crushing, grinding the food particles into the smaller particles. These teeth are diphodont, meaning that we are having 2 types of teeth, milk teeth and permanent teeth. Once the milk teeth are fallen, we will grow the permanent teeth. But after any damage to the permanent teeth, we cannot grow the new teeth. The teeth are heterodont type because the shape and size of the teeth are different types. Each tooth from the incisor to the canine are having the different shape depending on the purpose of that particular tooth. In general, 32 teeth are present, but most of the human beings, they are having 28 teeth. Take care of your teeth because you will not get it back, so brush your teeth twice a day. The next part is the tongue, which is very important as we taste the food with the help of the tongue. The tongue is having small and large taste buds, which are having the dendrites of the nerve cells, which perceive the taste, or they are having the gustatory ducts present in it. The tongue is not only for tasting the food, but movement of the food inside the buccal cavity. The swallowing of the food is just not possible when your tongue is out. If you pull your tongue out, you cannot swallow the food. Mixing of the saliva takes place with the help of the tongue. Tongue is a completely muscular structure. There is no bone present on the tongue. In the front portion, it is free moving, while approximately 2/3 of the tongue that is attached to the surface of the buccal cavity. If you are eating too hot substances, you may damage your taste buds. So be careful, eat properly warm food, not very hot. The most important part in the buccal cavity are your salivary glands. These salivary glands are of three types: parotid glands, sublingual glands just under the tongue, and submandibular glands. They secrete saliva. Saliva consists of water, electrolytes, and a very important enzyme, salivary amylase, which is responsible for the digestion of carbohydrates and converting the complex sugar starch into the maltose. It is also called ptyalin enzyme. The salivary amylase is one of the factors which starts the process of digestion, and the digestion of the carbohydrates starts in the mouth but completes in the small intestine. Approximately 30% of the carbohydrate is being digested by the saliva secreted by the salivary glands. The saliva is alkaline in nature. The cavity of the mouth and the nasal chamber opens into a structure called pharynx, which is a place where 6 openings are present. 2 openings are from the eustachian tubes of the ear, which are helping in balance of the body or air pressure inside the ear. One opening is from buccal cavity, another is from the nasal cavity. The space of the pharynx opens into the windpipe and the food pipe or the esophagus. There is no digestion taking place in the pharynx, it is just a junction where the food moves from buccal cavity to the esophagus. At the end of the windpipe, or you can say where the pharynx ends and the windpipe starts, there is a place called glottis. This glottis is having a muscular covering called epiglottis. When you are taking the food inside, then food should move to the food pipe, not to the windpipe, and this is done with the help of epiglottis. When you swallow the food, this epiglottis covers the glottis portion and makes the movement of the food towards the esophagus, covering completely the windpipe. That is why it is always said that not to talk while you are eating, because of the internal pressure of the air when you are speaking. This epiglottis gets open and the food particles may go to the windpipe, resulting into the severe cough. From this pharynx region to the esophagus, when the food is moving, whatever you are eating, that is called the food. But after chewing and mixing of the saliva, it is now called bolus. So this bolus moves to the esophagus. Esophagus is a connecting tube between the buccal cavity and the stomach. No digestion is taking place in the esophagus. It is just a passage having a mucus lining and the cilia. Unidirectional movement of the food is taking place. Esophagus and the stomach junction is having a sphincter muscle which helps in opening and closing of the esophagus to the stomach. That is why even if you are in the lying condition or in the other position, with the help of the cilia and sphincter muscle only, the food always moves from esophagus to the stomach. During unavoidable circumstances of the vomiting, due to a very high pressure, these sphincter muscles loses their control and food from the stomach comes towards the mouth. The membranes of the esophagus are longitudinal and circulatory, which by their contraction and relaxation makes the food to move from one point of the esophagus to the stomach. The stomach is having three parts: fundus, cardiac and pyloric part. The 3/4 part of the stomach is filled with the HCl, concentrated hydrochloric acid. The lining of the stomach or the membranes of the stomach consist of not only circular and longitudinal muscles to help in the churning movement of the stomach, but they are having a thick layer of mucus. This mucus lining helps to neutralize the effect of the HCl present in the stomach and protects the stomach lining. Inside the lumen, fine folds of the skin are present. Those are known as rugae. These rugae actually helps in churning of the food, and now the food which was earlier called food, then the bolus, is now mixed with the hydrochloric acid, is called chyme, which moves towards the small intestine. In the stomach, only the digestion of protein is taking place with the help of pepsin enzyme. This pepsin enzyme is present in its inactive form, pepsinogen. As soon as it comes in contact with the HCl for the process of the digestion, it changes into the pepsin, and this pepsin converts the proteins or breakdowns the protein into proteases for the further process of the digestion. The presence of acids helps in two ways. Number one, killing all those harmful microbes which are coming with the food and water to the stomach. And second is converting the pepsinogen into pepsin. Although liver and pancreas, they are the accessory parts of the digestive system, but they play a very important role. The liver produces the bile juices which are collected by the gallbladder and passes to the stomach, while the pancreas produces pancreatic juices having pancreatic amylase, lipase, bicarbonates, trypsin enzyme through a hepatopancreatic duct to the duodenum portion of small intestine. The food which has come from stomach to the small intestine, that is acidic in nature because of the presence of HCl in the stomach. Now this has to be converted into alkaline so to safeguard the membranes of the small intestine. And second thing, the trypsin enzyme is further converting the proteases and other protein substances into the simpler form of amino acids, works only in the alkaline medium. Salivary amylase was earlier you have seen converts the carbohydrates from complex to simpler forms, that too in alkaline medium. Similarly here also pancreatic amylase needs further conversion of the carbohydrates, the remaining 70%, here only in the alkaline medium. The small intestine divided into duodenum, jejunum and ileum is very important not only for the absorption of the food but also digestion of the food, because the duodenum portion is completely responsible for complete breakdown of the food material. Now the food which was earlier food, then the bolus, then the chyme, now is converted into the chyle. Here the absorption of the most important nutrients, all those digested part, takes place with the help of finger-like projections called villi. These villi increases the surface area for the absorption of the nutrients from the chyle and passes it to the circulatory system. They are having a large amount of the lymphatic vessels called lacteal vessels and crypts of Limbercombe. These crypts of Limbercombes are having stem cells, that is, they are having the capability for the maintenance and protection of the small intestine and formation of the new villi in the small intestine. The lacteal vessels helps in the conversion of the fat molecules which were emulsified by the bile juice, converted to the glycerols and other substances by the lipase enzyme of the pancreas, and now being utilized or passed to the different cells with the help of these lacteal cells. The movement is the peristaltic movement. In this case, you can see the peristalsis movement, how the food or the child moves in the small intestine and passes to the large intestine. In the large intestine, there is no absorption of the food material. It is only the absorption of the in the large intestine, only the absorption of water is taking place. Undigested food that is being collected in the rectum portion where the sphincter muscles are present, responsible for opening of this undigested fecal matter outside through the anus. The large intestine is divided into cecum, colon and rectum portion. The large intestine is very important because it is having the appendix present, which helps in the immunity of the organism because it carries certain good bacteria in it, which converts the undigested food material into the simpler form, removing its foul smell by doing the process of the fermentation. The process of removal of the excreta or the fecal matter is called defecation. So, the digestion completes here from ingestion to digestion, then to absorption, then to assimilation, and finally egestion outside the body of the undigested material. During this process, several enzymes have helped. Just a revision: in the mouth, salivary amylase for digestion of carbohydrates; in the stomach, hydrochloric acid and the pepsin for the digestion of the proteins; in the duodenum, pancreatic amylase, pancreatic juices, lipases, trypsin, bile for digestion of proteins, amino acids and carbohydrates, making the food alkaline. Small intestine also produces, other than these, certain lactases, maltases, sucrases enzymes for further digestion. No digestion is taking place in esophagus and large intestine. Now you will make notes and diagrams of this video also in next 2 days. If any query, that you can comment on my YouTube channel, but watch this video at least thrice.